Hey everybody, it's Deanna with toolsofenergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert. And it is Tuesday, the 26th of November, last Tuesday of November, and we're heading up on Thanksgiving. So for those of you that join me live tonight, I really appreciate it. And for those of you that catch me later, that's great too. Because tonight, what I wanted to do was to share with you a little bit more about where I'm headed in Tools of Energy Protection and where I'm headed with everything. As you know, I've taken the Energy Shift update to a new platform on Vimeo On Demand. And you can go there. There's a link on my webpage and get those Energy Shift updates to find out what's happening. And that left me some more room to work on other things, different ways to be of service to all of you. And so tonight I wanted to talk about that and thank you for the hearts and the kisses. And try not to get too emotional. Sorry. But I've been working on myself a lot lately. And so that I can be there better for all of you. Who didn't plan on this? Take two, right? And anyway, as many of you know, I am an empath, highly sensitive. I talk to the angels. I talk to dead people. I talk to living people. And I've been reading a book about awareness and healing for sensitives, highly empathic people. And I thought I was ready to share tonight, but obviously not. So, being highly sensitive or an empath can be the greatest gift in the world. And it can also suck because of this. So, thank you for the hugs. So what I've been working on in my life is getting rid of a lot of pain from my childhood. And as many of you know, that a lot of times our childhoods aren't stellar. And our parents are our parents. And they've been through their own shit too. And they have, been messed up, beat up, lied to, all the same things that we've been through. And a lot of times growing up, we think, if we have clothes, if we have food in our mouths, roof over our head, that's what the Great Depression taught many of our parents. If you're eating every day, 3 squares a day, if you have money to save or penny pinch, then you are blessed. And we're definitely blessed to live in the United States of America because there are so many freedoms that we don't even know about. And so many freedoms that are being taken away from us systematically every day. And I will not get off on that political platform, but I want you to know that there's a lot of stuff that is being taken away every single day from us, and we don't even know it. Our freedoms, the debit card, I love my debit card, I have for years, but that's one of the biggest ways they've taken away freedoms because they know what you're doing every time you buy something. But anyway, I digress. The reason for the tears. My platform is now changing to really step into the name of the website that I was given by my guides. Oh gosh, it had been 13, 14 years ago. And they said, name your website toolsofenergyprotection.com. And I did. And I thought I was helping people by offering sessions, helping them to clear energies and teaching some classes, but apparently that's not everything. And so for the last 3 or 4 months, I've been working on myself very, very diligently to clear out old hurt, old pain. And what I've learned is that as an empath or a highly sensitive person, we take on a lot of other people's pain. We because of the nature of who we are, we're like a little sponge. And if somebody's negative around us, we feel the full impact of that negativity. And it depends on how sensitive we are or how empathic we are to how we translate that energy inside ourselves and try to help others. And I was reading the other day about a young woman in another feed of a group that I follow, and she was having trouble at work because she was sitting in, I'm assuming she's sitting in cubicles, she didn't really say, but she was saying that there were so many people around her that were negative every single day, and she went to work and she would carry that on herself, and then she would leave her job and she couldn't do her job as well. She was fatigued, her health started to suffer, and she just didn't know what to do. The first thing she didn't know is if it was just her. Or if it was other people, and she was just crazy. And so I'm here to tell you that if you go to a workplace that's negative and there's negative people around you, if you sit in cubicles or if there's an open floor and the girl or a guy next to you is griping, moaning, complaining about their job constantly, or gossiping is what we used to call it, but you sit like there and you just hear the person and you want to tell them to shut the up, but you feel like you can't because it's the workplace. Well, there's things called boundaries, and you can certainly draw boundaries at your workplace. And you can tell somebody, hey, you know what? I'm doing my job over here, and when you're talking a lot, it's hard for me to concentrate. So how about we talk about what's bothering you on the break or after work, that kind of thing. And if it continues to be an issue, go to your supervisor and tell them that the person next to you is just nonstop griping or discussing things that you don't want to talk about, and you've asked them to quit. But that definitely is an issue. And a lot of times, empaths, highly sensitive people, we don't want to confront. We don't want to draw boundaries because we don't want to hurt their feelings. And we feel like it's our job to listen to what they have to say and try to help them. So if I can get some thumbs up or some hearts to show me that that's what you're going through too. Excuse me. Okay, my feed is dead. So that means that nobody can relate. Oh, there it goes. Good. Okay. So, good. Great. So everybody can relate to that. So for years, my jobs were always customer service and public service oriented, which most highly sensitive and empathic people seem to get drawn to because we want to help people. And when we have people who are highly sensitive or empaths or both, your job, the reason you were put on this earth, is to help other people. And that usually means being sensitive or understanding, but it does not mean taking their energy on. So early on in my career, when I left the idea that I was going to school to become a lawyer and understood that I was more going to be in the healing arts, when I graduated college, I went out to a customer service job while I was trying to decide what I was going to do and be in what I am in now. And I sat in a very negative environment, next to very negative people, backstabbing, undermining, hair pulling, not literally, but figuratively, and anything they could do just to kind of tear each other down. And what I didn't understand is that's the way those people were. That's who they were. That's how they communicated to each other. And myself, I wanted to be left alone so I could just do my job, make my money, and go home and maybe accelerate at my job if I could. And they made it really tough on me. And pretty soon I couldn't stand it anymore, so I found another job and I went somewhere else. And the problem was, there were more people just like that at the job that I got. Not all of them. There were some very nice people, and you learn to work with them, you develop relationships, but there was always that one backstabby, gossipy person who wanted to tear me down. And I couldn't understand why. I'm like, I am just here trying to do my job. What is wrong with you? How many of you can raise your hand and say, yep, you understand, you're just there to do your job and these people are messing with you, and you're like, what is your deal? Well, from my understanding, that's how they grew up. That's human interaction. That's social interaction. That's being tough. Oh, good. Hearts and thumbs. Thank you. So that's how they communicate. And I also discovered that those people had an issue with feeling lesser than, low self-esteem, toxic shame, just like me. But being a highly sensitive, I was more open-hearted. They used to say I wear my heart on my sleeve, whereas they just toughened up and they had this rough exterior. So through this reading and healing that I've been doing lately, I've learned about something called the protective self. I thought it was the ego, but apparently it's the protective self. And the protective self is one that develops early in the childhood. When you start taking information into your head, when you are little, your frontal lobe isn't developed yet. And your frontal lobe doesn't know how to handle really negative energy, especially if you're highly sensitive. You know, maybe you were told you were worthless as a child, or your parents didn't want to spend any time with you. I know the neighborhood I grew up in was upwardly mobile. And what that meant was, it was kind of like yuppies, which is an old school term. But it meant that the neighborhood that I grew up in, most of the people had two jobs. The women were working, the men were working, and they had high-end jobs, and neither one of them wanted to quit to raise the kids. So here I was in, ninth, 10th grade, and I was raised on a farm, and we'd moved from the farm over to, an upwardly mobile neighborhood to help me with my education, to give me a better life, and all those wonderful things the parents want to give you. But my dad was working so many hours just to make sure that was going on. He was exhausted when he got home, which now as an adult I understand, but it was hard for us to spend time together. And we used to do it before then all the time, riding horses, picking figs, doing all kinds of wonderful things. And then boom, I end up in the city where it's supposed to be better for me. And I thank you, Dad, if you're watching. You did a great job, trying to give me a better future. But that left one other parent. And that other parent didn't want to have anything to do with spending more time with me. I just got in the way of that person's career. And that's kind of a product of the world we live in now, which is sad, where both parents work. The kids are latchkey. I was latchkey before it was a thing. And they're at home by themselves. They have no guidance. When the parents come home, they're tired. They're often given dinner and brushed aside, told to do their homework and leave me alone. And yes, thank you for the sad face. But what happens is the frontal lobe isn't fully developed yet. It doesn't know how to handle it. So it's stuck on its own, trying to figure things out. So what does it turn to? Other kids, their peers. If their peers are on drugs, they're going to try drugs. Thank goodness, I don't want anything to do with drugs. Then they also turn to sex. And a lot of my friends that were in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade were engaging in sexual intercourse. I wouldn't have anything to do with that either. But I knew they were doing it. And after school, everybody would get in somebody's car, that didn't have a car. And we'd, having cars back then was a new thing for kids. And we'd go over to somebody's house, before their parents got home, and liquor cabinets and pot and all that kind of stuff. Now, what kind of an upbringing is that for a child? What kind of future does it give them? Now, I know there's a lot of kids that got raised that weren't like that have great values and great parents that really stuck in there with them, And my dad did the best he could, but he was tired when he got home. And where was my mom? Yeah, she got home at 9 o'clock at night, because she was busy with her career and too busy to help me do anything. My homework, feel good about myself, learn about boys, learn about my own body. And so I was stuck by myself with whatever I could learn. Now, if she sees this video, she may tell a different story. Good for her. But I'm being very vulnerable tonight, and I'm sharing a side of myself I don't normally share, because the desired outcome is that I want you to know that being an empath and highly sensitive and not having the structural support that you need causes you to go a different path. And that path is turning to other kids and all kinds of drama. And you think about the music we listen to at that age and how terrible it is. And, the Romeo and Juliet syndrome. And thankfully, I didn't get caught up in any of that. but I didn't receive the nurturing and the care that I needed. I felt discarded and I felt toxic. Like nobody wanted me. And that's sad. But I grew up trying to find myself as an adult, a young adult. I felt lost a lot. Because I was highly sensitive and an empath, I was pushed towards college. There was that, and I'm very glad for that. There was the money for that and been saved and whatnot. And I couldn't find a career I liked because at that time, you had to look in the paper and little boxes and see what you fit into. And, I was an empath, highly sensitive, and I didn't fit into anything. All the jobs that were shown to me, I looked at the university, when you grow up, what do you want to be? And none of the majors fit me. I didn't like them. I didn't want to be this. I didn't want to be that. I just wanted to be me. And I felt like I couldn't be me because I couldn't express myself. Because of my upbringing, any of my sensitivities were seen as bad or wrong. I was often told by the female of the house that you can't just wish things into being. Well, yeah, you can manifest them. You do have to do some work and take action, but you can start with the manifesting and drawing things of the universe. So anything that I intuitively knew was shoved away and made to feel little. And it's not a nice place to be. So I've been working through my protective self, which built like, the shell of an oyster, or the shell of a crab shell, right? That's what the protective self does. And anything that's good, anything that's loving, anything that's nurturing is not allowed past that protective shell because it isn't safe. But what's on the other side of the protective self is the big, huge, loving heart of a highly sensitive person and an empath. That's what's on the other side. And most of us will never know it because we don't take the journey to heal the pain. And that's why I had tears at the beginning of this video. Because my tears are real and real pain, and I may have shared more of my, childhood than I should have, but hey, I'm being vulnerable. And, I love my father very deeply. And he did what he could best at the time. And so the pain that I bear and that I'm working through, you have more than one parent, so yes, you get things from both. But what I found out is that this pain that I have that keeps me from bringing my heart to its fullest, to its biggest space, is because, see if we can do this, deep breaths, because I was raised by someone with a narcissistic personality. And that's hard when you're sensitive. You already feel things at such great leaps and bounds beyond the normal person. But a narcissist wants you to basically be their emotional slave, is what they want. And unless you're doing what it is they tell you, you are bad or wrong. Period. And so with all my beautiful gifts and all my beautiful sensitivities, I don't remember much of my childhood, which I just thought was normal. When you get to be in your 50s, I thought it was normal that we don't remember most of our childhood. But through therapy, I'm finding out that I blocked a lot of it out. And my protective self blocked a lot of it out. And in order for me to reach the height that God, Spirit, or Source is calling me to now, and the changes that are so pervasive energetically in this world right now, I have to go through that protective self and discover what's on the other side and heal the wounds. And for those of you that have been on long enough to hear and listen, I'd like to share with you the biggest secret that I know of right now. And that is that highly sensitive people, empathic people, are born with very special genetic DNA coding. They're starting to prove that now in science. I love how science proves things that, like, you already know. And in that genetic coding is to be open, to run the healing energies and to love and be loved. And the biggest secret that I've learned is that the protective self is there to keep you from being hurt over and over with insurmountable pain that you suffer at some point. A lot of people call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and there's different varieties of that. But if you don't know what a cluster B personality is, you might want to look it up. You might find that whoever's been hurting you in your life in that cluster B, and they literally hammer over and over again, empaths. Because they want attention and they desire your energy to be focused on them. And they have no compassion when you tell them that you're in pain, because they've numbed out their sensitive self so much. So most of the people that are narcissistic, sociopaths, psychopaths are highly sensitive people that got ruined when they were younger. And their protective self built up a shell so big, so thick, that they can't hear pain anymore. And so they play a game with other people. They want to keep you off balance. They want to see how much they can control you. How many hoops you'll jump through just for them, because they're trying to fill their empty space. So that's the secret. An empath, a highly sensitive person, is on one spectrum, one end of the spectrum, and on the other end are psychopaths, narcissists, and sociopaths. And that's how come they seek us out, because we are what they used to be and are no longer. With hard work, yes, they can come back, and yes, they can change. But most of them won't, because their journey is too dark and too deep. And that's the reason for my tears. Because I always wondered why it was I couldn't reach a certain level, why it was I couldn't get to a certain spot. And that's why. Because my protective self had built up walls from the mistreatment emotionally of when I was younger. The sad part is we tend to attract those kind of people because our magnetic polarity has been set to attract them. Excuse me. So over the years, when I was trying to seek love that I didn't get from a mother, I sought it from other people who only wanted to drain my energy as well. Over and over. And so you learn to draw boundaries, and you learn to love yourself. And for all the empaths and highly sensitive people that watch this, and they've been asking me for years, how do I protect myself against narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths? How do I keep from attracting them? This is the key. If you didn't get it, rewind the video about 5 minutes and start listening again. You're only going to draw to you damaged people who are seeking people that want to give them energy endlessly, until you find out your protective self and begin to heal it. And as you do, the protective self will shift from being protective and no more to all of a sudden a boundary self, which is what I'm learning now. And the boundary self can say no and mean no and be okay with it and be happy. So if you are an empath or a highly sensitive person and you're having trouble this holiday season, and you tell yourself, I'm going to go in, shields up, red alert, right? And you go in like, okay, I'm ready. It's exhausting and it's tiring. So how to be less stressed, or how for the holidays to be less hard, is to spend less time in the midst of family and friends. You want quality time. But the quantity doesn't have to be that great so that you don't have to be worn out or worn down until you can learn to draw boundaries. So in 1 minute or less than that, I will answer some questions. There's so many in the feed. But before that, I'd like to tell you that tomorrow is Wednesday, of course. And I think I have a little availability if you need some help. Thursday, I'm going to spend time with my family. And then Friday and Saturday, I will have time and I'll be back in the office again. So if you are struggling with this and you really would like to get together and get started on where do I start, where do I dig in, how do I get going? Each person is different where they are along the path. And so I'll have to know what's going on for each one of you. And tomorrow morning, I will get on my toolsofelnergyprotection.com, click appointments, and I will put some times in there for free for about 20 minutes so that I can talk to you, find out where you are, and we can come up with a game plan to get you healed and healthy. So I want you to hear me one more time, and then I'm going to answer questions. If you truly desire to heal so that you are not a victim to sociopaths, psychopaths, or narcissists anymore, you must heal your protective self. You must first feel the pain and heal it, and then you will be impenetrable. And I've been there. I'm doing that. Obviously, I still have some pain because I had some tears, and I am so willing to help you to get there. So again, Wednesday morning, I'll go to toolsofelnergyprotection.com. I think it says sessions, and I'll click on book now, and I will put some free sessions available for Friday and Saturday so that we can get together and talk. But do not take up a spot unless you are ready to get started now. If you're not done hurting, don't click. Because I'm only going to have room for the people that are really serious about this. Okay? Not to be rude, but it's true. All right, I'm going to scroll down here and see what some of the comments are and answer some questions. So thank you, Tim, for joining tonight. Thank you, Judy, for watching. Thank you, Denise. Let's see. Thank you, Carol. And thank you, Cherie and Donna and Jessica. And thank you, Judy, for the hug. Yeah, it is tough. But, you know, I've been doing this business about 13 years professionally, and I've loved helping people. And I always knew there was something missing when people would say, well, how do I shield myself? Well, here, let me teach you how to clear energies, which I can do. And it helps, but you can clear 9 ways to Sunday. And you'll feel better, but you'll still have this little gaping hole, and narcissists and sociopaths will still come right back around. And you'll be like, what the heck, right? Am I not done learning my lessons? No, you're done learning your lessons. You just got to heal now, and nobody's ever told you that before. And that's why I'm telling you. All right. Hello, Kelly. Oh, hello, Kelly. Big hugs to you. Oh, yes, Carol. Thank you. Big hugs. Thank you, Becky. Oh, you all are so supportive. Thank you, Colleen. Hi, Joe. Okay, Denise says, it's like a cancer, needs to be cut out. We want to be happy and supportive. Okay, so, Denise, that's exactly how I was describing the female who raised me to another family member, like a cancer. Because when you're a kid, your God, Spirit Source designs you to be a sponge and to totally absorb what's going on around you. That's how we learn. You know, monkey see, monkey do. Because you watch kids, they want to be just like their parents, and they do what their parents do. So that's a child's innate nature. It's not their nature to be abused. But you learn from them, and you identify with them, and that becomes part of your DNA. And it's not only the good, but it's also the bad. And like I said, I have a path to follow now, clear-cut one, so we can do that together. Jessica says, what if I want to prevent that? So she was talking about the coworkers. So Jessica, you'll have to feel things out at your job. But if you have coworkers that are backstabby, backbitey, blah, 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 and you're not comfortable with that, drawing a boundary is really a good thing. Make sure that you do it in wisdom. Make sure that you do it in a way that's not going to cause you to lose your job. But you can tell them, hey, so-and-so, you know what? You're talking all this stuff, and this is a time for work. And I would appreciate if we could talk about this on a break time or after work, because it really is disruptive in my day. And hold your ground and don't say anything else. Now, you may have to go to your supervisors and tell them, hey, this is happening. But that's part of the way that you can do it until you learn to have that deep self-love. Because once you have the deep self-love, then it's easier to draw boundaries. And you say, let's see, she says, meaning I can't talk to anyone because they're having issues. Everybody has issues. You have issues. I have issues. But the boundary is that while we're working, we're going to work. And we're going to talk about work. And then when break time comes or lunch comes, then we can talk about our personal stuff. And that's the idea. But just be careful with that. Do it in love. Christy says hairstylist. Yes, hairstylist is a great job for highly sensitive or empathic people. Lots of healing to go on there. Medical field. Yep, absolutely. And Denise says that the sociopaths hate us when we're happy. Kinda. They don't understand why we're happy because they've cut it off from themselves. So that's a whole nother video. Good, Christy. I'm glad you can relate. Hi, Missy. Good to see you tonight. Let's see here. Denise says, I have great parents, but one went to heaven, life changed, and found myself trying to fit it because I was different. Fit in, right? Absolutely. And yep, when you lose a parent, you can feel lost and not yourself. And when you don't understand your highly sensitive self, you can also lose yourself. Okay, and it's not a weakness. Let's see here. Christy says, I'm 100% single parent. I've chosen to create a lifestyle that I can be home with my daughter every night. Good for you, Christy. I'm trying to do the same thing, but as you can see at night, sometimes I'm on here. Let's see here. Some people think I should work more hours towards retirement. Christy, get to me on that comment. I can't... and we'll talk about that some more. And thank you, Denise, for verifying that's an important connection. And Jessica, thank you for reaching out and saying it's extremely hard to be raised by a narcissist. Yes, it is hard to be raised by a narcissist. Any person, it would be hard to be raised by a narcissist. But when you're highly sensitive and this person keeps telling you you are bad or wrong, bad or wrong, bad or wrong, and your sensitivity, your gut chakra tells you, no, this person isn't right, but they're supposed to be the adult, they're supposed to be the person you look up to, it's BS, and it hurts because you look at this person to shape you, to mold you, to be your champion. And all they do is get you in a loop of making you feel bad or wrong, which increases toxic shame. Christy, deprogramming. Deprogramming is part of it, Christy, but we're going to talk about how to heal ourselves and get past the armor or the crab-like armor. Let's see her. Hi, Chelsea. Good to see you tonight. Let's see her. And Jessica, yeah, it does explain a lot about narcissists. That's why I'm so glad to share it. It's just, when I finally found that out, it was like a huge wake-up call as to why I carried so much pain inside of me, even after helping tons and tons of people. That explains my relationship issue, Becky says, attacking them. Yeah, if you're in a relationship with a narcissist or sociopath, definitely want to reach out to me. We got some tools we can help you with that. That's always a challenging situation. And looks like I've got, okay, hi Anna, good to have you watching. Okay, so that's rather a lengthy time to be together. I saw a couple people dropped out. I'm sorry. It took a while. No, I'm not sorry, actually. It took a while to explain all this. And being vulnerable and coming out of the box and sharing my story when obviously it's still hard to share and it's still painful and I'm still working through it, but I can get you started. That's one of the tools of energy protection, is learning to love yourself again and get past that protective self. So I don't see any questions. I just see a lot of hearts. Thank you so much for the hearts. I really super duper appreciate it. And for you all tuning in. And Thursday I will not be at the bookstore because it's Thanksgiving, so they're closed and I'll be stuffing myself. If I can get out of here, if we don't get any more snow. I'm in Loveland, Colorado, and we got about 18 inches of snow today. So luckily the news gave us a heads up yesterday. But that's it. You absolutely, don't need to have a hard holiday season. If you're with a narcissist or sociopathic or psychopathic parent, you've got to draw some boundaries. It's not going to be easy. I don't want to put any bad juju on it, but I've been there, I know. And they're going to want to hook you into some family drama and then blame you and make everybody think you're the bad guy or girl when you're not. And it sucks. So my pledge to you is that I'm going to go on to my toolsofenergyprotection.com, click on sessions, click on book now. And I will put a few availability spots up there for Wednesday in the afternoon, more or less, and then Friday and Saturday. So if you do have a narcissist, a sociopath in your life, and you are ready to cleanse yourself and know how to shield yourself, then please come on and book your appointment. I'm going to do them about 20-minute time slots, and there will be no charge for them. It'll just be a chance for us to get together and check things out. And you all are so welcome. And please remember that on Vimeo, there's also a link on my website to Vimeo on demand. I do the energy shift updates so that you that are highly sensitive and empathic will know what's happening. I'm also telling you what dimensions are shifting, what dimensional frequencies are shifting. Schumann's resonant frequencies are shifting. I'm also talking about foods to eat or not eat to help you shift, and usually a stone of some sort that would be good to have in your energy field so that you can do this. So if you would like to get a little packet, a information packet, just sign up at the top on the right-hand side for all the videos, and you'll get the first one in December, the first week of December, and then every week after that I will post a new video, and you just automatically get it for one price. Or you can test out just one if you want. So thank you for all the happy Thanksgiving. Gobble till you wobble. Becky, you're hysterical. Big hugs. And yes, I am putting food in the energy shift updates as well to help keep, let's see here. Yes, and happy Thanksgiving to Judy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Anyway, big hugs and kisses to everybody. Thank you for letting me be vulnerable and share this moment. If the woman who raised me happens to watch this video and she's offended, it's just what narcissists, that's how they are. You will always be the bad guy no matter what you do. Love, hugs to everybody. Good night.